Do you want to see something really cool? Of course.
Just us. No rules.
Holy Santa Claus shit. Can you imagine if we had these when we were 12?
Even better. We got them when we're 40.
Rebels, what is going on? Welcome to Hot Toys and Hot Coffee. Here's my hot co-host, Mr. Gary's Grills.
Hey, good morning,
Hey,
HTHC
what's
followers. That's Hot Toys, Hot Coffee. I'm Gary from Gary's Grails. Thank you, Ed. You guys, thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're watching it live or going to catch us on the replay. Today, we have a special guest. He's pretty super. He's kind of awesome. It is John from the Super Awesome Geek Show. Put your hands together. Welcome, John. How you doing?
What's up, John?
Hey.
Thanks
How
for
you
coming
doing,
on,
brother?
man. We appreciate it.
I'm
Very
doing
nice to see
good.
you.
It's
You're welcome.
good to be on with you guys.
We got Ultra Cardzilla,
Oh,
first one in the
Cardzilla,
chat.
first one.
Here he is. Yep,
Nice.
in the
Nice,
house
nice.
today.
4 days
sure
from his
gonna meet-
birthday. Awesome.
Nice. I'm sure you're going to
Everybody
meet
wish
a
Ultra
few
Cardzilla
new
happy
people
birthday.
today.
Yeah. Got a ton
Well,
of
Troy's
Jurassic
got a Jazzwares
Nice.
Halo figure coming this week in the mail for his birthday. Nice. Very
That's cool.
Very cool.
So what's
So
been
John,
going
how
on?
are you
John?
doing, my friend?
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. If my voice is a little rough, I'm getting over a slight cold. I went to Disney World this last week with Chris, the 1000th Ghost. I don't know if anybody out there knows Chris, but
Yep.
You do.
Yes,
we
do.
we had a great time at Disney World, but unfortunately, little kids had wiped their boogers all over their hand railings and everything. And by the time I left, I was sick.
Yeah, it's like going to a convention. You know, you hear a convention crud. It's almost impossible to come home. and
Yeah,
not-
you know,
something.
I actually brought this bottle of vitamin C and rose hips with me, and I was downing like 2 or 3 of these a day.
mainlining
And
it.
I say that may have saved me because I was sick for maybe like dead sick for maybe like 2 days where I was like I didn't feel like doing anything except sleeping.
Yeah,
But I got over it pretty quick. I didn't really get to the point where I was horrendously coughing and stuff. It was just a sniffly note like a head cold, and that was
right,
about it.
right.
Yeah.
You guys
But,
didn't hit Galaxy's Edge this
No,
time?
we did. Yeah, we did.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
If you see I have a quick video up that just shows a little bit of the stuff we did, the nightlife because Chris bought the package.
I
Chris
saw the
was-
light show thing. Yeah.
Chris was very generous in that he purchased for the both of us that package to go to Disney's Spooky Spectacular like after hours.
Oh, wow.
Right.
They closed the park at I think they closed it at 4, but they let people linger till about 6, and then they
Mhm.
kick everybody out. And from 6 to midnight, it's only the people who paid, maybe about 1,000 people
Oh,
who were
wow.
who paid this extra amount
Okay.
to stay for the spooky events. And they gave you a trick or treat bag, and they were literally shoving candy into this bag.
Nice.
Oh wait, does that say let's do this? What did it say on the other
It
side?
says, yeah, when I grabbed the bag,
Oh,
they were like, oh, we did steal this from someone. You might know, don't
Yeah.
tell Geek Strong that we stole his for catchphrase. So,
Yeah.
and they were like, but probably nobody here knows Geek Strong. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, I won't tell him,
I wouldn't.
so yeah.
Well, Geek Strong is represented by the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and he's going to make a bundle when he sues Disney. So that's awesome.
So
Copyright infringement. Yeah.
they were shoveling. I mean, they had barrels at all the rides in the stores, and
Yeah.
they had them full of candy, and the girls were just shoveling, literally like those little shovels you would get,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
do in your yard. You know those little.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah,
Little back, little hose, little hand
Yeah,
hose.
so
or
they
whatever.
were like filling that thing and just shoveling the candy in. And I stopped at the house on the way back and gave half of it to my mom because
That's
I'm like,
funny.
there's no way I'm going to eat all this. You know,
I was
I
impressed.
probably can't eat all this. I'd
that
die.
wall of M&Ms was crazy with those two from floor to ceiling, just full of it. I mean,
Yeah.
you just sit underneath there like Abu and just
Yeah, you could just open the plunge and just down all these.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, they had in that video it shows the Ray ride and some of the Galaxy's Edge stuff that we saw. If you pay
Oh, that's
attention.
cool. Very
So
cool.
Gary
I
must
want to
have
do that
fallen
Millennium
asleep
Falcon,
during
that
that
Rebel,
part.
whatever they call that. I want to run that thing so badly.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
fun. So let's talk about your hot toy adventure, or what got you started. What was do you know what your first one was? And I'm pretty
Well,
sure
yes.
it was like Star Wars related, but tell
Yeah,
us.
like so So actually, what I really wanted was during the lockdown. It was during the lockdown. I decided, the government was giving us extra money, and I had a little bit of extra sort of around.
Yeah.
And I decided right then and there that I was like, you know what? It would be really cool to have like a hot toy in my collection. I personally think they are way too expensive for what they are. I have some Hasbro
Don't you blaspheme
1990.
in here?
I have what? What'd you say?
Don't you blaspheme in here?
I have some Hasbro
good.
figures that are 12-inch from the 90s. And I will tell you, like, now that I own some Hot Toys, there are a few figures from the 90s that are on par with Hot Toys that
wow.
Hasbro made in the 90s,
Right,
especially
right.
some of those Jedi, some of the later versions, like the Jedi Count Dooku, things like that, to the point where they even have fingers that individually move,
That
wow.
articulate, yeah.
that
Yeah.
articulate. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, especially Count Dooku. I mean, a lot of times when you see him on the shelf, people don't realize he's not a hot toy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyways, so for when you're looking at him compared to something like that, and those things in the 90s were $25, and you go, why is this $25 and a Hot Toy's $200 or $300? Like,
Yeah.
the difference in quality is so minute that it doesn't make sense, the difference in price. So I was, for a long time, totally
You're
against
just against it. Yeah.
purchasing it for my own collection. But during the pandemic, I had extra money, and I got it set in my mind that it would be really cool to have a hot toy in the collection.
Yep.
And I wanted Iron Man.
Okay.
I said, let's go for Iron Man. Let's go for
Yeah.
one of the die-cast ones, and try to get like a real metal die-cast looking.
There you go.
Very so I was trying for one of those like $400 or $500 ones. I even actually was on the list to try for the quarter scale, and that came out back then.
Mhm.
And somehow I missed it. I don't know if there was a period. I mean, like, granted, this was during the period where my brother was sick with cancer, so it very well could have been that when they finally went on sale or something like that, I went up to the house and was spending time with him because something
Yeah,
happened, or we may have had to take him over to Tampa for some, sometimes we would drive him to Tampa for a week, and he'd have all these intense care things and
Treatment
studies
stuff.
done,
Yeah.
so by the time I got around to where I was like, oh yeah, I got to check on that thing, I didn't know about the wait lists. I didn't know about the email lists or anything. I just thought you had to go to Sideshow and like hope they were on sale or hope they were there.
Right.
So when I went there, they were suddenly said sold out. And I'm like,
Wow.
what the crap? Like, I swear
Yeah.
I was looking a little while ago and they weren't on sale yet. They weren't
Don't
even
take long.
available for pre-order. And then
Mhm.
these quarter scale ones sold out. And I was like, so then I realized they made like only a very limited amount. Like some of these things, they only make like 500, 700, 1,000, 1,500.
Brown
So,
suit
and I-
Wolverine, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it might have been one of those limited ones. So I just said, well, I'll wait and I'll get an Iron Man later on. And I waited and nothing happened. And then I was like, you know what would be kind of cool? I saw they had this sale. I think it was during Christmas one year. They had this thing where it was like, if you buy one, you get one for half price.
Okay.
And I was like, it would be kind of cool to have the 3 troopers. And they had a stormtrooper commander.
comes.
So it was a stormtrooper with the red pauldron, like in the beginning of
Okay.
Star Wars.
Right.
You
Right.
know, when he was like, these aren't the droids you're looking for, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they had a biker scout, and both of them were like $220 or somewhere around that.
Okay.
And so I was like, man, if I could buy one and get one free, that's about $300. You know what I mean? For 2 figures, a little
Yeah.
less than 300, I think it was. So I went for that. I went for their sale and got that. And I'll tell you, when those troopers showed up, I was just like,
You're blown
holy
away.
crap. Like, these are,
Amazing.
and I showed them to my brother, and he was like, wow, these are just like incredibly, they're done so well, such high
Mhm.
detail. The armor pieces all feel like, it's like they're all individually made almost, is how it feels.
Yeah. There's like
Yeah.
a functionality to every piece almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's like, like going back to that 90s 12-inch Stormtrooper, let's say, all those pieces that are in the armor feel like they were made in one mold and then
Mhm.
broken off a sprue or something and kind of like
yeah.
put together. And they're like, they feel like they're highly manufactured. A very nice figure. They're great. I love them to death. But now I see the difference where it feels like each one of these, like the gauntlet, the hand piece, the armor on the shoulders, the legs, each one of those pieces, I think have their own mold. They're like
Right.
specifically made to fit that character perfectly. They're not like a generic mold that might fit 4 or 5 different bodies. They're kind of like designed in a way that this stuff really is built for that particular figure and not to be designed to be reused over and over and stuff, unless you're using the same buck and the same, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it's not like the clone trooper is going to have the same body as like the you know, the biker scout or something, because the
Right.
way the armor seems to fit is the armor seems to be sculpted to fit that arm just perfectly. You know what I mean? And so I got hooked, and then I found, I think by looking online, I realized that the sequel stuff was like, I got the stormtrooper from the sequels with the vest and the belt, and he had the big
Okay.
gun and all that, and he was like $50 because nobody wanted the sequel stuff anymore.
Right.
Wow.
And then I was like, holy crap, if I won them at auction. So then I was like, the other one I liked from there is the Snow Troopers. So I put that down, and I was like, I wonder if I can get them in the Flame Trooper and have like the sequel troopers, and then I'll just have to get some Clone Wars guys, you know, from the original trilogy, and I'll have all 3 trilogies represented. And you know
already
what
in
I
the
mean?
rabbit hole, by the way.
So all of a sudden
Yeah,
you're falling down. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
falling down this rabbit hole because once you get them in your hand, you realize the quality's so good.
I'm telling
So,
you,
yeah,
collecting this
I-
stuff, it's like quicksand. The more
Yeah.
you struggle, the deeper you get. They're just you might as well just give into it and say, all right, you know, be picky about what you buy, and then just get the stuff
I
you
would
like.
like. Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're all doing. So that's cool.
So in the end, I ended up with the Snow Trooper, the Storm Trooper, and the Flame Trooper from the sequels, and none of them cost me more than like $50. Some of them were
Awesome.
as low as like 20, $25.
Wow.
They are, if you look for auctions, nobody is bidding on them. So
Mhm.
if you can find an auction that starts at like 10 or $20, you're gonna win it for pretty darn close to that amount, because there might only be one other person.
So are you
Trying
talking
to get that
eBay?
figure.
Like, are you talking eBay?
Yeah,
on-
eBay. Yeah,
Yeah,
eBay. Yeah,
I'm gonna
eBay
keep an eye on
auctions on sequel Star Wars. eBay
Okay.
auctions are extremely cheap.
Did you
Okay.
find
And-
they were putting like a minimum, like they wanted to make at least this much?
Well,
No.
some people do, but
Yeah, yeah.
the ones I won did not. So I got them
Okay.
for
Wow.
less
They
than
just might have
50
wanted to
bucks
unload
each.
them then. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'd pay
then
50 bucks all day long for some troopers, man. That's
or
awesome.
they were pissed off, but they sold for so cheap, but they
Yeah.
just they didn't feel like reneging on the deal, and they went through
Right.
it. You know. So
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
so then I got I got the Solo Scout biker guy, the biker guy from Solo. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because that's a different trooper type.
Right.
And
The
then I
biker.
got the Black Death Trooper from Rogue One, and then I got the Shore Trooper from Rogue One. And all 3 of those were also eBay purchases, I
Okay.
believe. But they did run between the 150 and 200 by the end of the auction. So I
Right.
still got them for less than retail, but they were still up there in price. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like as far as
Would you still go after like Jyn Erso and Cassian and other, or you just want to
no,
keep it to the
I'm gonna keep my
Just
Star Wars
troopers.
to the troopers.
yeah.
So I'm looking to get a Clone Wars Mark I armor trooper and a Clone Mark II trooper to have a representation of those clones. And then I'm looking to get whenever a snow trooper comes out. Now I hear that in the next Mandalorian project, whether it's the movie or another series or whatever, they do go to a snow planet, and there are Imperial troopers in the snow
Oh, nice.
trooper armor. So that means they will re-release that snow trooper in a Mandalorian packaging, which is
can bet
kind of
on
how I got the biker scout, because they
Right.
you know, when they appeared in Mandalorian, they came out in a Mandalorian box, and that's how I got the Biker Scout. So, and I don't care if the box says Mandalorian or if it says, okay, the knee pads are flipped around. Well, big whoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
the
still
nameplate might be different. You know, you can change that if you want to pop it off. Yeah.
So I'll get a snow trooper, because if you go to try to find a snow trooper right now, they're like $600 or $700 on the secondary market. Because they haven't made one in years, you know. So I'm not going to spend that price. I'll wait till they reappear in some Star Wars project, or if they just somewhere down the road decide, hey, it's time to do another snow trooper.
Yeah.
Let's honor Empire Strikes Back and do another snow trooper, like they have done since with the Biker Scout. I think they've come out with another one that's specific to Return of the Jedi, right?
Right.
And so that's one for down the road. And then I'm debating right now, like, okay, if that'll give me all the different trooper types, but do I need a dark trooper, like the robot dark trooper?
Yes,
you know what
do.
I mean? Like do I need one of those to be that is to represent?
You need a few of those. Then
You'll talk yourself into it.
You need the Grogu, right?
I just wanted to acknowledge real quick, Octopus with No Friends, which is a great name. You have friends right here on Hot Toys.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you do.
Thanks for popping in. Yeah.
Right here.
There he is.
Duncan.
Yeah, see? I just took a swig too, huh?
Yeah.
Cold coffee. Hot Toys, just coffee. We'll just change it to
Coffee
Hot
in
Toys
general.
/coffee. Duncan.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a free
just sounds
plug.
good with and then the hot co-host, Gary's Grills. It all goes together
Jesus,
well.
well.
Right? Yeah, there you go.
The guy with the golden voice, but a face for radio. So,
But yeah, then unfortunately, I mean, my brother passed away last year in
so sorry.
June, so it's been a little over a year. And while I'm telling you, I went up there, it spent like maybe the last month with him. My job was very lenient at the time. They were like, you can just do whatever you want, take off all the time you want to be with your brother. And they let me stay up there at his side for like almost the last month while he was.
Wow,
and
awesome.
he was just basically stuck in bed the last few weeks. And he was like, we were looking at some of the stuff coming down the road. And he saw that they put up the Batman from 1989, the Keaton Batman.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And my brother is like, his number one thing is Batman. He loves Batman.
Cool. Very cool.
So he just went, how much is that? You know, and he goes to his phone and he's like, all right, I transferred you the money. Order that damn figure. So I was like, what the hell? So he made me, while I was sitting there, order the figure, and we paid for it in full. He just sent me the money and we paid for it in full. He goes, I'm freaking dying. I'll send you my money. You know, he's like, and then with like a couple of days later, we saw the Darth Vader go up, and he's like, oh, you got to get that too. Here's some money. And he ordered me the Darth Vader, and he was awesome. So the Darth Vader should show up, I think, by Friday, right? They're coming real soon. You know?
Yeah, I think they're shipping.
And we just got our Wolverines and the
we did.
And the the Batman was a few weeks ago. So so that's.
I remember, John, when I first, same thing as you. COVID was the reason I got into this in the first place, because I lost my job. My place of business shut down. They did shut down for 6 months, but then they said we were all going to get hired back at the end, which they did honor. So right.
Yeah, so we had that 6 month time off where it ended up being almost 8 months, I think. And that's what I'm saying, where we got that extra money from the government. And that's kind of what allowed me to get the first couple.
Right. But what I was saying is that I remember you talking about your brother. I knew who you were, but didn't know you. But that was the first time you dealing with your brother's illness and everything that I saw from the community, like kind of how I saw it. You had to feel it, how they kind of rallied. You know what I mean, around, and that was really, that's the first indication I got that we're just not a bunch of idiots with extra money collecting stuff. There's real people with real feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, by the way, Rebels, I don't know if you know, but what Gary's talking about is the community came together and did was it an auction? Was it some kind of and I think that there was a lot of stuff donated, and they kind of put it up for sale, right? And they raised like $4,500 to help my brother with medical bills and things. You know,
that's fantastic.
It was, and by the time between that and what other people donated, by the time we were done, I think Mark said he ended up, because we started a GoFundMe, and I think my brother said he ended up with around $9,000 to help with bills because of this toy community. And that's what Gary's talking about.
Yeah,
It's like
a
these
really nice community.
the people that are in this community are just more. They're more than just collectors. They're more than just friends. During that process, a lot of you guys became family. You know,
Yeah.
truly, truly did, and it meant so much to my brother and to my whole family, that, you know, blood relatives, that these people came together and did all that for him, and they were there right up to the end. You know, there were that last week there were people calling Mark on the phone from all over the world that are in our community, just saying goodbye, and you know, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
All right,
amazing.
well, I just want to mention. Anyway, so, do you want to show us some of your stuff, or
yeah, I could give you a little quick tour here. So,
yeah. Awesome.
So I will. Let
up,
me go
brother?
on the phone here, and I can get, because I'm on a laptop right here, and I can't really pick this thing up and carry it around the room. So let me click on Gary's link here, and we'll go. And I do want to have, you know what I would like too is, when you look at my setup, maybe we can get some suggestions for what you think, because I do want a better lighting, and I need something to go in the background, because I think they're getting lost in the shadows.
Right.
Even though there's lighting in it right now, but it's like, so if people have ideas on display lighting for Hot Toys, and I was thinking of a light gray, like I think the white troopers might get lost in the white. So I was like, I want to put a background in here.
Yeah, you were saying in your.
And I'm thinking like maybe a real light gray or a real light blue, maybe. I don't know what. Like, I don't know if you guys, what do you guys do? Do you just buy a shelf and live with it? Or, I mean, like,
yeah, that's what I've been doing so far.
Maybe I'm thinking too complicated here, and I'm just like, you know, but.
Hold on.
It's telling me I can't use freaking Google. I got to go to Apple's stupid thing, whatever the hell this.
Can you just open up the app on your phone and do it that way? I'm not sure if that'll work. I'm going to try it myself while you're talking. Ed, if you see me in the background, don't
click on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm backstage.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
I see John.
I'm
Can we click on you, John?
gonna mute. We gotta mute one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, because it'll give feedback.
Yeah. Mute this one. Mute this one.
Here we go.
There we
It's
go.
the fun of live streaming, people.
Beautiful.
Bear with us.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me like with this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Sounds good.
so currently I'm going through stuff, and I've got boxes and things piled everywhere, and I am going to have a sale, because I've got so much modern stuff that I got duplicates of. It's been driving me nuts, and I mean, look at these boxes that are out on the patio. You know, like, so. But anyways, here's my premium section.
Oh yeah. That's
I've
sweet.
opened the cabinet doors. They're usually behind glass doors, but I've got like my masterpiece Transformers down here, and then my 3-0 GI Joe representation.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then this is the Hot Toys. So yeah, so each one of these were basically $50 or less.
That is
Wow.
insane.
And if you look for auctions, you'll find them, and they're incredible. Like, this little handle thing comes down, and there's like parts that fold out and become like a longer stock and everything. I'm just like,
Oh, wow.
holy crap, these are like, so the weapons are incredibly detailed as well. And these hoses are like, they feel like nylon, you know what I mean? Like, they're not just like a rubber hose or like a plastic thing, you know? It just blows me away, you know?
Yeah, those are
Look,
wow.
so you can't see.
Wow.
Look at that. That's the Death Trooper. Like, it's
Yeah.
black on black. I can't see him at
Right.
all. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Oh, he looks awesome though.
yeah. So I'm thinking, instead of the puck
Huge.
lights, I need to get like a strip or something that
Yeah.
can, and it sort of sends the light in, you know? And I love this trooper. Say what you want about the movie, but this patrol trooper, whatever they call it, is just incredible. I mean, the design, I just think, is an awesome looking trooper.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorites, really. And the shore trooper, I got the commander one that has the caper on his waist, you know. And then this is the Wolverine that just came in.
Yay.
And I got the blue, and Gary went for the brown. See, so we have different ones.
Oh,
and
okay.
I like some of the Kotobukiya, whatever the heck how you say that. So I've got a couple of them in there. And there's the Batman.
I see Left Coast in the up your nose with a rubber hose. Yeah, Vinnie Barbarino. Who else is in there?
Krang is the only character I collect from Ninja Turtles, so I got the deluxe Krang.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's my deluxe figure collection right now.
Very
you know?
nice.
So like I said, it's mostly Star Wars troopers, and then there's room for the clone stuff to go there. And if I get a snow trooper, I don't know. I'm gonna have to rearrange because that'll be pretty much it. I mean, there'll be 2 shelves of troopers, and they'll fit all in there pretty nice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish the bases were the same. Like, why aren't these bases all the same? Why do they do these round ones every once in a while? It's like, come on.
Yeah, they were
You're
doing
screwing up the
hexagonal ones for a while, and then they went to the
You know?
rectangular, and now they all seem to be the rectangular ones, like the top or the middle shelf. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big vintage collector, and
that's cool.
I've been sticking these cool boxes in with the vintage ones when I have them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where did you get that box and that tin from? I wonder.
Yeah, they're
wow.
There he is, right there. Speak of the devil, Left Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
asked him if I wanted to show that or not. I'm like, yeah, I'll show that. That's hilarious. He said he's a Hot Toy version. Man, that's a nice collection of vintage. Oh my god.
I've got every single Star Wars figure with all the variants except for 2. I need the Red Bar R5 and the Hollow Tubes Tusken Raider, but I've got every single variant that was
John, that's amazing.
And every figure, including all the current ones, because I think that you must have the Mandalorian and the prequels and all those guys if you're going to say you have every figure now, because that's a continuation of the line, even though it's 40 years later. And I got all the droids and the Ewoks ones, you know.
That's an amazing collection. Amazing collection.
So yeah, and it just goes down. Like I've got everything vintage you can think of, you know. Thundercats, Chuck Norris.
I just found yesterday in my toy hunt, one of the targets had the new are they Super 7? The new Thundercats, not the deluxe, but they're on blister cards. And they just had Monkey, and I want the basic Thundercats team.
Yeah, those would be cool. Super 7 look like they're doing a good job.
They're $34.95 though, which I think is a little pricey for those with one accessory and the figure. But I went back to my local Target.
I was getting ready to ask if you had any mask. Will you go back up mask? Yeah, check those out.
There's a lot of masks, yeah.
I'm seeing your Pokemon.
Those, by the way, these Pikachu, this is the one in the back here is the very first Pikachu that was released in Japan. That's the absolute very first version, and that's the first United States version of Pikachu. Wow. So they're back in the early 90s, right? Like I think they were, I want to say 92 or something like that. But
I have a set of when the first movie came out. I was working for Regal, I believe, at the time, cinemas, and I was running a theater. I was in Georgia, and they came out with a set of hologram cards for there were 4 of them for the first Pokemon movie, and we were giving them away to people at the box office. If you bought a ticket, you bought 2 tickets, you got 2 cards, and they had to pull them off the counter and hide them because different locations, people were running in, just grabbing the box and running out, like stealing the damn things. So it became a big deal. Like we got this notification: please pull all Pokemon cards out of the reach of the customers and keep them behind the counter. Yeah. But anyway, I have a set of those. I don't know what they're worth, but I think it's Pikachu, Charizard. I forget what the other 2 are. Ash and somebody else. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyway, interlude. I have a toy to show. I got a few actually, but this week has been my delivery guy's been busy at the Casa de Grail. The first one I got in earlier this week was the So-So Toys Homelander from the Boys, and I know Ed, you were interested in seeing this.
Dude,
and I don't know how it's going to translate the camera, but the lighting's probably not good enough to show. Is it?
That might be my next hot toy. Well, I mean, it's not.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's got a sweet hardwired cape down both sides and on the bottom. I think the likeness to Anthony Starr is great. My one critique about it, and I will be critical when it's warranted, is no split cut boot, so you can't
Yeah.
tip his feet down for flying pose. You know, it'll still.
But man,
it'll still
that face sculpt is dead on. I mean, I think it looks just like
yeah, it's really cool. I want to show you the
it's
light up feature too. There's another head, and this is his. I'll put it on. Give me 1 second. Flip
Yeah,
over.
you're
Let me
good, you're
swap
good.
this out, and then I'll show you what
You're
he
good.
looks like with the laser eyes. Hold on.
John, how many mask figures are there total? Do you know?
Figures. Wow, I'm not 100% sure because I know there were 4 different series, and the first
Okay.
3 series had 1 figure each, except for a couple. There were a couple vehicles that had 2 or 3 figures, but then the 4th series, every vehicle had the figure and a special version, which was like a hologram version. So they were
Okay.
clear plastic versions.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very. I just don't remember, but I've got a whole pile of them over there that have to go on display. Like the mask are going to move into the other room.
Okay.
There he is with the light up feature.
That looks
I don't
amazing.
know if it's translating on camera, but his left eye doesn't quite. It looks actually all right on camera, but it's not quite as bright as the right one.
It's not as bright, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that's
It
with
looks
his
really
grimacing
cool.
face with the I'm really happy with it. It's
Huh.
that was very cool.
Jonathan Redmond says, question for the hot toy owners. How have
Yes.
they held up over time? Like we know how vintage figures and more modern lines have lasted in the
Yep.
real world. So just out of curiosity, how's the top tier brands hold up?
Well, I
That'd be
can
a
tell
good
you from
question for Gary.
my experience, is they love to use something called pleather. It's imitation leather. If you keep characters in dynamic poses and keep them folded and creased, it does get dry and crack over time, unless you can buy like treatment stuff for leather or for pleather and coat it with that stuff, and it preserves it, and it does a great job. I haven't had any problems with losing anything due to flaking or cracking because of that myself, but they will if you leave unattended, especially if you don't keep any of your figures like comic books in the sunlight. It'll bleed them quickly. They'll be ruined in no time. So you've got to be careful. I've had the same. I'm trying to think of the oldest one. Probably might be the Gambit. He's got a long leather duster.
Yeah.
And that figure's 6 years old, and it looks like brand new still.
Nice.
So you've got to be careful. That's Sendy with the costumes themselves. They're coming up with different designs, especially when you have a Spidey. It used to be almost like a neoprene material. So when you bent it, it creased. You know, if you left it in a pose, it would crease over time and stretch and not snap back. Now they're using more cloth materials that are more flexible. So Hot Toys is still figuring stuff out because you don't want to spend $265, $300 for a figure, and then in 5 years it's just falling apart.
Sure.
You know, that's disheartening. You know, so you got to take care of them. You got to do your due diligence as well. So
the only one that I've seen of trouble with is because speaking of wanting Iron Man as the first, I was still on the Iron Man kick for a while, and there's a place down here called Bits and Buttons, and I'm friends with the whole family.
A lot of channels.
Yeah, over the years I've become friends with the whole family. So his wife, Dominic's wife, will give me a call or send me a message when they get stuff in, and she's like, "We got a whole bunch of Hot Toys in the Iron Man you were talking about. We got a couple different versions. Come on down and check them out." And they had some from back in like the mid 2000, I'd say like 2010, 2000, like, so there were MCU versions from like the first couple movies, you know.
Okay.
And the colors were really faded. And she was telling me that because when I opened the box to look at the figure, I'm like, why doesn't this look like red and yellow? It looks more brown and maroon or whatever. And she's like, oh yeah, these fade over time. And she's like, so you know that's just something you got to deal with. And I was like, I wouldn't be able to stand it in my collection.
No.
So I didn't end up buying one. And she's just like, okay, I guess this is going to be a hard sell, you know. And I was like, well, yeah, because I mean, if you're going to spend that much money, I'd rather not have it fade. And we don't know if the previous owner had them in the sun or where they were.
Yeah,
but
how
I
they
mean,
took care of it. That's exactly it.
yeah, you don't know. But I went online and since looked at it, And there are people who swear they just left it in the box since they bought it, and they've opened it up to find that the figures are faded.
Really?
And I was told from other Hot Toy collectors that back in the early to mid 2000s, they used a different kind of plastic for the armors, and some of
Okay.
that stuff,
That makes sense.
the paint and the coloring didn't stay
Right.
as well. And that's why they've changed it over the years. They were like, if you feel that plastic compared to a plastic that came out like with the newest figure, you're going to feel the difference in your hands. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Same thing
So
with the
yeah,
paints that
so
they're
what
using.
same thing with what he was talking about with the cloth and everything.
Yeah.
When Hot Toys becomes aware of a problem, they seem to work to fix the problem by changing materials so that the newer figures won't run into that issue down the road.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're getting into it, the more modern and newer the figure, the better off you are than buying something that's older, you know?
Better the quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
'cause
you
they're-
look at your Wolverine? I know I talked to you about it, and I love here's the brown suit one right here. I got him in a little.
Yeah, he's sweet.
It's awesome.
Very cool.
My cautionary tale for this thing is on the back. If you can see,
Seam.
there's a seam running right down, which is solid. It's all knitted together very well. But if you're going to bend them forward too much, I always take and pinch this together to keep less stress.
yeah.
Because I want this thing to last forever because it's.
And I
buzzing.
also noticed in the legs, I was trying to
That's
be very
amazing.
careful. Like when you spread the legs from a standing position,
Mhm.
you'll notice the fabric will start bunching. So I was
Yep.
trying to straighten it out so that there's no stress area
Yeah,
on
same
the
thing in
fabric.
the knees. You
Yeah,
bend the knees, it'll tends to go inside the joint. So when you straighten them back out, just pull it out, and just flatten it
just-
out.
yeah,
so it
and
doesn't
then
pinch. Yeah. That's you got to be. I mean,
because
yeah,
I
it's so
have that worry too, and especially like with those arms, like I haven't flexed my arm like that because I'm scared that it's going to stress the rubber. But Gary
These are-
assures me this is a really good version of.
yeah, these are medical grade silicone, which is what they make prosthetics out of for
Okay.
people, for real people. So I love the fact that you can bend
Actually-
this arm like that, and I feel comfortable leaving it like this. I'll
Yeah,
change them around
Because
they
I
do
might
anyway.
switch my pose to something like that because I was trying to do the claws open, rah, but I can't really get him to bend down enough and to arch his back enough to make.
Well,
it
John,
really
we're
look-
going to have a video soon
Yeah.
where we invite a
gonna
lot
show
of
you.
people on, and
Yeah.
we're going to be posing.
Yeah.
So like if you might have the same figure someone else has, and if like for instance, if I don't have the confidence to bend the Spider-Man I just got and Gary does, then I may end up doing that, as Gary does his.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
I was thinking like we'd have a bunch of people on, and it'd just be called, like Hot Toy Posers or whatever. And
Yeah, I like that.
It'd be a lot
Hot
of
Toy
fun.
posers.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The other one that I got this week, John, you'll take an interest in this, is the Jedi,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Mandalorian Luke. Look at the
Yeah.
look at the head. Look at
Fire.
the face.
Cool.
Hamill, as you know, doesn't have a face that translates well to other mediums, especially plastic. And of course, he was CGI'd in the Mandalorian because he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But I love the look, and if you have any of the previous versions of Luke, you can literally the hair's just magnetic. Look, now he's a cyborg.
oh,
The hair's magnetic, so you can switch the hairstyle out with any of the other ones if you wanted to, and it works. It will just
Wow.
plug right in. But yeah, I love this look, the Jedi robes. When I get the Return of the Jedi Han Solo, which is on pre-order late, probably mid next year or late next
so I
year.
got a Luke. I don't know if he does that or not.
I think I remember you saying something about it. Yeah,
Yes.
and
See,
I'll show
it's-
you.
That's the other thing I think is great about Hot Toys is like that Wolverine came with 3
Oh
different.
my goodness,
faces.
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
He just
See?
never took his head off.
Yeah, I never took his head off.
You think I made it up? And of course, he comes with a Grogu. And this is the other part. This is the I kept saying Death Trooper in my video. It's Dark Trooper. All dismantled. It's got a little bit of articulation, and I'll show you the greatest thing, and then the worst thing for me was this. That's the light up feature, right? And there's different modes. You can get them like short circuiting and
Wow.
glow like but the eyes are supposed to light up, and they don't on mine. So I
Huh.
have, like I said, I contacted the seller on Amazon. He already replied back. He's like, he's going to call Sideshow on Monday and see if there's something they can do, mail me a replacement or something. But that's
Different.
that's
Just
cool.
send another head, and maybe that's all.
Yeah,
it
well,
is.
it doesn't. I don't want to unplug because I'm sure there's wiring that goes through there, and I thought about trying to pop it off to see if I could reconnect, but I'm sure if I popped it off, I would just make it worse. So I'll give him a chance to see what he can do for me. It's always going to stay like this anyway on the display, but
Yeah. Now you said a different thing to me too, is that you can use that body with the legs of the trooper that's sold on his own.
right, absolutely. Yeah, there's a pin that comes out of the bottom here. I don't want to lose the stand. There's a thing that unplugs right here on the front, and then you can pull this bottom piece out so you can set him on the legs of another one. Yeah, so you can make a full, which I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that, but yeah,
That's
the arms
really
are thicker
cool,
a little
though.
bit, the head spins. But yeah, see, let me see your Luke again, Ed.
Yeah, sure. Let's see here.
They're very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a half screen. Can you do a half and half?
Let's see here. Yes. Yeah.
Mine's using the Force. Yours is not.
No. But he's got a lightsaber up. He's ready.
Yeah.
In fact, mine even lights up. Does yours light up?
Well, it there's another arm that you can pop the other set of batteries
Yeah.
in. Where this is
Yeah.
just a static lightsaber.
Look at that.
Even in certain light, it looks green. It's got like a green hue to
Yeah.
it.
That's cool.
It's not lit up now, but I absolutely love this figure. I'm so happy
Yeah.
I got it. So
That's cool. Yeah.
and John, you were
Now-
talking about
How long, like
the base.
if, because I got that Darth Vader coming, and I think he has that feature where the lightsaber will light up.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say I put him in the cabinet and I turn that light on.
It won't last very long.
Those batteries will last for
Batteries
half
run
an
out
hour
really quick.
straight.
Oh,
Probably
really? They'll just die
Yeah, they're
pretty
not-
quick? Okay.
It's really
okay.
just for photographs and showing off. Yeah. Otherwise, it's actually best not even to leave them in if you're going to keep it in the cabinet for a while, because you know how batteries can. you
Yeah,
know,
they'll
they can turn over
yeah.
time. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, that's one thing they haven't perfected yet. Now, some of the newer stuff, like I'm going to pre-order that the Terminator from Terminator 2, the damaged version,
Yeah.
and he's on that little stand like he is in the steel. USBs, they're going for USB power going forward for a lot of
That's
their new
even
stuff.
awesome.
So that takes that battery thing off
So
the table.
will that go into the stand then and
Yep,
then come
exactly.
out? Okay.
Exactly. And there's a little thing
Because the weird thing is they should be using really small LEDs in there, and an LED doesn't use that much. I mean, I
Doesn't
have
use
an
that.
electronics major from
right.
college and university actually, and I've got a master's degree, and they don't use much power. So LEDs
Right.
shouldn't be using batteries that like within a half
Mhm.
hour. That seems ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I just wondered like what kind of technology they use in these things, and
As
maybe
much
they're
as I
not
love-
using like a really power efficient LED or something.
I'm sure they're getting in the batteries. I'm sure are just they buy them by the millions and they're cheap as hell.
Yeah,
You
maybe
know,
they're cheap batteries too.
that's
Yeah.
what I think it is. I think the
Yeah.
technology in the figures is good, and it's ingenious. Like I said, you unplug the arm and just put the batteries in and plug it back in, and then that lightsaber.
Batteries are very hard to put in, though.
They're a
Yeah,
nightmare. I know how often I spend time with these little tweezers and my big caveman hands.
I
and
always-
trying to- Good
I always say a
Lord.
few profane words when I'm putting the batteries in.
Yeah.
It's not a good time to be around the kids.
No,
when
no.
there's-
But yeah, maybe if they are going to that USB tech, maybe
Mhm.
I could wire it into the lights. Because what I do with these cabinets is I actually have those lights wired
the
into
light
a switch that's on the wall,
Okay.
Oh.
and then it goes to a switch down there. So when I turn the switch on to turn the lights on in the room, all the cabinet lights come on as well.
Nice.
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 So I
That's
don't
cool.
have to go around and individually click all those little,
That's very cool.
you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So yeah. So I
Now
could probably integrate that into it so that when I turn on the light in the room, Darth Vader's lightsaber lights up, you know. Or,
Yeah, that'd be neat.
That'd be
That'd
cool.
neat.
Now you have dedicated space. Do you have enough room to grow, or like the rest of us, do you find that the space is the biggest?
well,
such
that
money, the biggest
that
enemy?
cabinet used to have Stariors and Voltron and other stuff in it,
Okay.
but I have since decided that it's going to be the premium cabinet. And realistically, there's room to put one more shelf in there, because there's like 8 inches of space above the. So if I readjust those shelves, I could get one more in, but it's
Yeah.
just a question of is that still enough room for one more level of hot toy size?
Yeah,
you know.
you really need about
So-
16 inches between.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to
You
cover the
don't want to
base
have
and-
the shelf right at their head. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
no.
So it's kind of like it might end up coming to a thing where I move the Masterpiece Transformers in with like the Transformers, vintage Transformers display. Like, you know, like
Right.
vintage Transformers take up 3/4 of this cabinet and 1 or 2 shelves is Masterpiece or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I know.
So-
Besides,
And then
vinyl.
that cabinet goes total 12-inch. You know what I mean? So, but it is because like Darth Vader's got to go somewhere, and with that, we bought the
He's taller.
deluxe version. So with that stand and everything, he's
Oh,
Yeah.
probably going to be 14 inches tall.
did you say you got the shipping notice or you didn't get it yet?
Yeah, it's going to
Mhm.
come by Friday, I think, at the latest.
Oh,
they
wow.
said.
Nice. All right.
So it'll be
We're
here
gonna have
any
to come
day
back
now.
on here again then.
Yeah, and that's the one that has
I
the
can see
2
that.
different heads, like the
Right.
on the body where it
The damaged head.
yeah,
Yeah.
where you see the skull inside. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's when the Emperor electrocuted him, and you see that skull. So
Right.
those head and body parts like light up and show you the skeleton underneath.
Yeah, that's
you know?
awesome.
That's cool. That's gonna be
So
awesome.
that came, I think, only with the deluxe version. So I don't even know how they're going to have you interchange that stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and isn't there a head that has the helmet that comes off, and you see Sebastian Shaw's
Yeah. Yeah.
face
There's a
under it?
version of that one too.
I think, yeah. So yeah, and then it's got some. I think it's got part of the throne room as the stand, right? The stairway or something
Got
like
the
that.
stairwell. and yeah.
Because we got the deluxe, and I think it's got that stairwell stand thing, or with that where he fought Luke. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Or that railing and the base or whatever where they
Yeah, they
threw
make
him
nice
off.
little diorama pieces that'll.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm saying with that stand and how tall because Darth Vader isn't 12 inches because some of the other figures are, and
Exactly,
they do
yeah.
them to scale. So Darth Vader alone is going to be like 13 or 13 and a half, and then with
Yeah,
that
you need that
stand,
clearance above them. Yeah.
with that stand, he's going to be 14 or 14 and a half, maybe 15 inches, you know, in total. So yeah, so he's going to have to go on the bottom of the way these shelves are right now, you know. But
Well, one of
yeah,
the questions
so
I like to ask on the show is if you could have any hot toy, if I was to say I'll buy you any hot toy, what would it be? Or is there a
Thank
hot
you,
toy
Ed.
that you would like to be made that hasn't been made yet?
Well, Rebels, I'm a huge Yoda fan, and I do have the Empire Strikes Back Yoda, and I have the those are in the Yoda collection room. I've got over 1,000 Yoda items.
Oh
I have
my
a whole
God.
wall of Yoda stuff, from Yoda toilet
Wow.
paper to Yoda toothbrushes, Yoda cereal, Yoda
That's awesome.
Christmas lights, like Yoda towels, Yoda you know,
That is
baking
awesome,
pans,
yeah.
Yoda
Yeah.
Yoda plates, like anything with Yoda's face on it is in there. Are batteries with Yoda on it, crayons with Yoda, you know. And then I've got all the way up to like this really cool statue that something my brother bought for me. He got our parents to go in on it, so they bought this deluxe statue of Yoda that's on the log from Dagobah.
I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
was super expensive, but they all went in on a couple $100 each to get this thing. Because that same year we went in and bought my brother an official Super Bowl used Seahawks helmet, because my
Wow.
brother is a massive Seattle Seahawks fan,
Mhm.
because we lived in Seattle for 17 years, and the moment we got out to Seattle, we started going to games, even when they weren't a contender back then, and tickets to the football games were like $20.
Yeah.
So we were
Wow.
going, and we were there like rooting that team on from when they were nothing all the way up to when they won that Super Bowl. So my brother was like basically a fan from the
Yeah.
all the way
Yeah.
through.
Oh, yeah.
And he always talked about wanting a helmet. So that year we decided to get him the helmet because he was sick, and we were like, we should do this for him, give him and so I found a game used official Seahawks
Helmet.
Super Bowl helmet.
Wow.
And then I bought a case for it, and it says Super Bowl and all that stuff.
Oh,
on it.
nice.
So, my parents went in on that with me, and I think because we were buying something expensive for Mark, they were like, "Hey, Mark, what can we do to get something expensive for John?" And then so Mark found that statue, and they all went in on it. So, anyways, and then I got the Hot Toys Clone Wars Yoda, and then I searched online, and I'll tell you, that was a hunt. every Yoda from Empire Strikes Back, from the Hot Toys from back. I mean, they're like 10 years old, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it took me forever to find one for less than $400. They kept going $700, $800, and then finally one day I won one at a really low price. It was less than 400, and I was like, "Holy crap! I actually won it!" You know.
Yeah.
But I would love to have like another, like, I know there are other versions of Yoda and I that have come out, and I would love to have more of the Yodas, or a like the Force Ghost Yoda from the sequels would be a cool hot toy to have.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like when he
Yeah.
was laughing at Luke and making fun of him and stuff. And you know what I mean? So just that Yoda fan in me would love to have that.
It's
And then of course, like I said, I want the Snow Trooper to come back out. And I mean, like, I'd be happy with that, but I will tell you, if they did an authentic Hammerhead that was very close to like
Why you want
Kenner's
to cater to what
Hammerhead?
Rick just
Rick
said?
said
Yeah,
that.
Rick said that.
Like,
Here too.
is he talking
Yeah, he
Hammerhead?
said the same
Yeah.
thing.
If it was, because I'll tell you, for me and my collecting, like my favorite action figures of all time, my favorite character to collect is Yoda. That's
Okay.
my favorite character, but he's not my favorite figure. My favorite figure and favorite toys are Hammerhead, Kenner Hammerhead with the freaking bathing suit on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kenner Walrus Man with the orange suit and the blue arms and green hands, you know, and the Lizard Woman from Flash Gordon. Those three figures are like my favorite toys of all time.
Of all time.
So if I could get hot toy versions of like Walrus Man, like Hammerhead, and that 5 POA Lizard Woman from Flash Gordon, like I would be all in on those three.
They
What
might
was
do
the-
something like that. I know Sideshow had made some of the
Yeah, they did the
Cantina-
villains thing just a few
villains
weeks
thing,
ago. Ed, did you pull that up before?
I
did.
They
saw
did
the
5 villains from the cantina. I think.
yeah, and there is a Walrus Man, but he's pretty close to the movie Walrus Man.
Yeah,
not the-
Right. Okay.
I would like. I just think it'd be cool to have one in Kenner color. Like some, I know it would probably look really weird, but I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't
Yeah.
say hi to Art, by the way. Art, how you doing, buddy?
Hey,
Thanks
Art,
for-
well-
What is
how you
up,
doing?
Arwalk? How you doing, my
Yeah.
friend?
I haven't seen Art in a while. Yeah, that's cool.
I actually had him on here as a guest. Me and Gary did
Yeah.
a few weeks ago.
a couple
Oh,
weeks
cool.
ago. Yeah. Yeah.
He has some awesome Spider-Man hot toys,
Yeah, he
Wow.
does.
Yeah.
and convinced me to get a Spider-Man hot toy just recently.
We all-
Yeah, if I were, that's the thing. If I were to go another Marvel, I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind
Spider-Man.
having a Spider-Man represented in the collection, because Spider-Man has been one that I've collected since I was a kid, and
Right.
Yeah.
and I was telling Gary, I was like, I still wouldn't mind having someone to represent the Avengers, and I have to be careful, because if I get too many,
One
I'll
of
end up
us.
wanting.
One
It'll
of
go
us.
like, yeah, it'll go like. Well, now that I have 2 or 3, I've got to have all the Avengers. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You got to
right.
have
We
the whole
talked about-
team. You can't just.
Someone in the comments
you
mentioned
know.
the Hulk, and that flashes back to what we were talking about, John. Because
Yeah.
they've done Hano Studios, who did the Wolverine, has already solicited an Iron Man of classic
Yep.
Iron Man, which I pre-ordered. They need to do, and Thor. I've seen
They're doing
pictures.
a Thor. Yeah, they're
So
doing a
they've got to do
Thor.
a Captain America, and if they do a Hulk, I'm all in because that's
Yeah.
my 4 Avengers right there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
So
we've met,
Yeah, this-
I've seen you on. You've been in my chats with Super Awesome Geek Show and with the Monkey Lizard, Salacious Rum. So I've seen you around, Art. I know. I've watched your channel. We've run into each other before.
yeah.
But John, this is the second time you and me have been on the same show. We were on Peg Warmers one time
Oh, yeah.
with Chris. Yeah.
You know, it's Gary's Grails putting YouTubers together for 1 year. Gary's Grails.
And yeah, so I mean, like, those would be really cool. But yeah, the Hulk. I mean,
Hulk could be
I
cool.
want a comic book really Hulk. Not yeah.
like
there's enough
that's
movie
yeah.
ones.
If
Yeah.
they do a comic version of the Hulk, he could be like, I could see myself switching over from being like, I need to find a really good Iron Man, to being like, you know what, I'll get a Hulk instead, because
Yeah.
Hulk would actually look good next to the Wolverine as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
Hano Studios
they've-
doing these introductory prices, like Wolverine was $169.
Oh,
What a
it was
deal.
really
Yeah.
good price.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Very
I'm
good
sure their price and the Iron Man, I believe, is 179 or 180. They went up a little bit because there's a little bit more to it. Still, at that price, and I said it in my video, I think the quality of the Wolverine is such that if I'd paid 200 for it, I would have been fine. I feel like it's
Yeah.
it's worth it. A piece like the Hulk is probably going to be a 250 or a 260 because of the sheer size,
Size, yeah,
production.
yeah.
But if they keep doing what they're doing with the quality, the Hano Studios, which is they're a subsidiary of Hot Toys, I think the line's going to do well. So I'm all in. So
Yeah.
that's my
And I
story
would
number one.
imagine with the Hulk, they'd have to do a lot of that silicate, whatever you call it, the rubber.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They can color it any.
All over.
They can mold it any color. So yeah.
All over the skin. Yeah, because
Yep. Yep.
It look incredible. Yeah, that'd be incredible. That'd be an incredible Hawk.
yeah.
That's what they should call it.
Because I tell you, I was seriously thinking of that Iron Man that he's talking about that he just ordered from Hano Hot Toys, and it was kind of like, but I kind of feel good. I feel like, well, now I've got the Wolverine representing my Marvel, and that Batman represents DC. I don't need like more Marvel and DC going down that road. But I'll tell you, if they did a really good, you know who really gets me in the comic books is, like, I'm all in on Laura X-23. I've got everything they've ever done with Laura in it, and if they did an X-23 in the quality that they've done this Wolverine, I would be all in on that. And then the other one I love is Silk from the Spider-Man universe.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And I've got all of Silk's, every comic Silk's been in. So it's like if they did a Silk, I would be like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that too. And I feel like they did one a while back, but I mean, I'd want one.
There's the Marvel
modern...
Legends of Silk, I know. There's
I have that one. I have that one. But
well, John, you have a Batman hot toy. You have to get a Joker hot toy. That's how that
no,
goes.
see what happens is that with that kind of stuff, what's more in my head is if they did a Christopher Reeves Superman,
yes,
I would have to have that.
Me too.
Batman Superman is more goes
together
more in my head.
There are statues. Sideshow's done a couple of statues. I saw one at Baltimore Comic Con a few weeks ago. That's incredible.
Maybe we'll get one. Maybe we'll get a Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's one of him by himself, and then one with him as Clark Kent side by side. They're awesome.
Wow.
The movie that's out that's honoring Christopher right now is I hear that people who saw it on pre-showings and everything, it comes out nationwide in every theater on October 11th.
Right.
But I have some people who've already been able to see it from either it's come out earlier in their area or there's pre-showings and stuff. And they said that there's points in the movie where like the theater is in tears. Like everybody in there is.
The trailer got me misty. Yeah, I mean it's just
and they were like, it's an incredible honor to Christopher Reeves and an honor to Superman in general. They said there's so much good stuff in there about the impact that his Superman had on us.
I'm sure they'll show it, but there was one Oscar presentation where he came out in the wheelchair and then he stood up. I mean, he was shaking, but and the place went crazy. How could you not? Your heart go out. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was an incredible moment. I'm sure that'll be in the movie. Yeah.
And when you hear that music, the Superman music, that's what goes to my head immediately.
Right off
Christopher Reeves, so just like I think of Keaton as Batman, which is why I wanted that one, and it's like, I mean, Christian Bale was freaking awesome as Batman, but I just
as Batman,
it goes to my head when I hear that music that I think of Batman '89, and
with that, and John Williams is onto something, isn't he? With his scores, I mean, how many times has he done it? Superman, Jaws, Raiders, Close Encounter. I mean, he just
Star Wars, like every theme. That hit on me one day when we were talking about movies and things that we grew up with, and it's like any theme that comes to your head that you think of, you look it up and you're like, holy crap, that was also a John Williams. You know what I mean? Like, that guy could make theme songs that stuck in your head, and you hear like 3 notes. And it's the movie it's from. You know what I mean?
Superman, it's all music, but when it it sounds like a Superman. You can almost hear the word, in the music. It's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then the other guy is who Tim Burton and them get a lot is
Danny Elfman.
Elfman there. He's really done some incredible work too. So it's amazing that these guys can make these theme songs that just kind of stick in your head forever. You know, like
What was his group? Boingo Boingo? Was that where Elfman came from?
did he
wasn't
really? I
part-
don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, I
know
believe
that.
he was part of that group. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know Christopher Reeves was in a few episodes of Smallville too, which I really enjoyed.
he was. He played that
Yeah.
scientist.
Thought that
Yeah,
was so
later on.
cool that they
Mhm.
worked
Oh,
there.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
it was a good show.
He was.
But
in the
yeah,
wheelchair.
I think that would be a really cool one to have up there next
Oh,
to
yeah.
I'd have to get a flight stand because I would want him.
Oh yeah,
I
you
would
want
want him a little bit above with his leg,
Yeah, you
like
gotta
one
have
leg,
lovering.
absolutely.
Yeah,
one
looking
leg bent,
down.
one leg down, and he's just kind of going up.
There you go.
absolutely.
All
yeah.
right. Well, Ed, looks like our hour is up. The sands have run through the hourglass. Our work here is almost done. John,
I
what,
want to
tell
thank
us
you for
your
Super
stuff. What do you got
Awesome
coming up?
John. You rock, bro. Thank you.
Where
Sorry,
can they
what was
find you
that?
down the road? What do you got coming up, John?
Oh yeah. So I just put up a little video quickly showing off Disney World with me and Chris. Very quick highlights,
Saw it.
and then what I picked up while I was there. Bunch of Yoda stuff mostly.
Bunch
I picked up
shocker.
while I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did when I got back from Disney, I had 4 or 5 boxes here, so I just filmed a mail call, like going through all those and what I picked, what came in the mail while I was gone, and that's going to go up for tomorrow's video. I try to have a video out every Monday and Friday for the Super Awesome Geek Show on YouTube, and
Right.
I'm going to try to stick to that plan now that I don't really have a job. I lost I lost my job at Lego, and so
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go all in on YouTube and reselling, selling stuff that I've got extras of, and just kind of going to more shows and toy shows and online sales and things like
But
that.
don't sell any hot toys, otherwise you
No,
can't
no,
back on
yeah,
the channel. Yeah.
no, none of those. Yeah, yeah. And
All right, cool.
yeah, just so there'll be a video up tomorrow on that, and then more to come down the road. Yeah, I've actually got a couple other channel ideas that I've discussed with Gary, but I'm not really in a spot to. I want to have more done before I announce those other channels, but I've got ideas for 2 or 3 other more channels that I want to put out there and see how things grow. Because I've had my channel since 2015, and I want to see how things grow today compared to how this channel grew. And the other channels are almost not related to toys. Like
Yeah. Mum's the word. So, yeah.
Some things are completely the opposite of what you would even think I'd be doing channels about. But
Yes, they are.
and so I'm interested in how these things grow and how the current market on YouTube works, and it'll just be a fascinating look over the next year to see if I can make this turn into a career or
Mhm.
or not, and then I'll find another part-time job and live like everybody else. So you know
Well,
what I mean?
thanks
Take
again
the
for coming
opportunity
on.
while you have it. Take the opportunity while you have it. And if it doesn't work, I'll just get another part-time job and continue on with life. You got to
Nice,
live
nice.
life the way it is and
That's
take
it.
everything as it comes.
Do things that make you happy, like this weekly show, Hot Toys, Hot Coffee.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The time is up, guys. John, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate it. We'll see
Thank
you
you, John.
again. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you pretty soon. For John, Super Awesome Geek Show, Ed, Rebels, Reptiles, and Games, I'm Gary from Gary's Grails, reminding you once again, your grails are out there. Go find them. And we'll see you next time on
Thanks,
Hot
guys.
Toys, Hot Coffee.
See you guys
Stay
next
awesome, everybody.
week. Thank you.